Welcome back to another Monday Morning Musings. This is the Prudentialist, as always. I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to spend today deviating a little bit from previous Monday Morning Musings and other videos that I've done. I thought I would take the time to give a more personal side of my story and what's been going on, sort of explaining why I haven't put out any scripted videos, but at the same time to offer some kind of lesson based on what I wrote in the title, which is something along the lines of do not be discouraged or don't find yourself in the setbacks. So, for those of you who are new to the channel or aren't necessarily aware, I am a renal patient. I am currently on the kidney transplant list, and I have a relatively okay life. Other than this one thing, I'm perfectly healthy. I go hiking, I go walking, I go fishing. I have no other health problems whatsoever. I'm not even allergic to anything. And, anyways, by the provenance of a birth defect that wasn't noticed until I was much older, some damage was done, and now I need a transplant. So last Tuesday night, at around 10:20 at night or so, I get a phone call. It's from one of the transplant coordinators at the hospital that I have my things taken care of at, letting me know that there's a kidney available, and it'll be there tomorrow afternoon, and we want you to come down and get everything started. So here I am, driving 2 hours now from where I live to the hospital in Dallas to get things situated. I'm poked, I'm prodded, I've got vitals taken, COVID tests taken, virtually every kind of blood work known to man taken to ensure that I'm good to go, and to make sure that nothing is going to stop me from any sort of complications in surgery or likelihoods of rejection. Needless to say, no sleep was had. My parents and I are having long, awkward conversations about what my wishes are, which is something I don't think any parent wants to hear, especially when their child is still in their 20s. Conversations about what I want with my remains are done, the likelihood in case if anything were to happen. Because of my height and weight, I qualified for what's considered an en-bloc procedure, so instead of getting just one kidney, I was qualified to receive a pair of kidneys from a small child. A very morbid 2-for-1 special, but that's the only way I seem to cope with it, is through some sort of morbid sense of humor. So anyways, the organs don't get there until sometime Wednesday afternoon at around 4 o'clock. So I'm sitting in this waiting room outside of the surgical wing of the hospital, just waiting. I haven't eaten anything, I haven't had a glass of water to drink, and I haven't had my peritoneal dialysis, which I do every night in order to stay healthy and alive. So, needless to say, I'm a very grumpy and tired person, and we're just sitting there, waiting, and waiting, and waiting. And eventually, my surgeon comes in to let me know after our conversations with the anesthesiologist and all the OR nurses that the organs were finally there and she was going to check them to make sure that they were okay from transport and everything was good to go. Needless to say, as I had put out on Twitter, they weren't good. And ironically enough, it was about 5 seconds of disappointment. And after that, I was ready to go home. And countless apologies, and we'll get them next times, were the aspect of the conversation that was held between my parents and the surgeon. And then later that week, I'm meeting with my PD nurse and others, like the social worker and the dietitian at my dialysis center, and it was just this weird cavalcade of pity, and it didn't sit right with me. I'm not bothered by this. I've never let it been bothered, or I've never let myself been bothered by it. I've been aware of this problem and my own mortality since I was 6 years old. And I've always told myself that I wasn't going to let it affect my life in any meaningful way, despite the fact that my life has been irreparably changed now that I'm dealing with renal failure. It's just that this has oddly been a blessing. And I say that because in the time frame that all of this has taken place, I have found myself getting closer to God, closer to my family. I have made more friends since I've been open about talking about this and doing the online thing here with political channels. And even though I joke about it and I mention it in passing, I don't let these sort of things define me. I am aware of the health problems that exist with the current pandemic and how I am technically higher at risk, but I don't want other people to sacrifice their well-being and their livelihoods on my behalf or in my name. I guess what I'm trying to say out of all of this is that this is small potatoes, in my personal opinion, in the grand scheme of things, of everything going on in the world. Yet, despite this life-changing event that I'm going through and the disappointment that came with it earlier this last week, I don't let it get me down. I'm here still making this video. I just got excellent news about a job offer that I'm going to take, so even though my most recent job ended, my contract wasn't renewed, I just found another one. And I am going to put out 2 scripted videos this week, and we have a live stream later this afternoon. I want you all to know that no matter how bad things get, no matter how moribund the mood may be, or how terrible the room may be read, I'm asking you to keep your faith. I am asking you to not be discouraged in life, and I am asking you to stay strong. Because even with things in politics, world affairs, the economy, everything that is going on, even with your day-to-day life, whether you're not your neighbor's an asshole, or you and your wife aren't getting along, hold the line. Stay true to yourself and what you believe in. Because the moment that you resign yourself to be atomized and alone, and you've got nothing else going for you, that is when the likelihood of you becoming another statistic happens. And I cannot, in good faith, ask you to give up. There is so much more work to be done. Whether that's in politics, whether that's with your neighbors, your school, your kids, your family, there's a lot that can be done. And hell, if I can do it while ordering tons of supplies and doing dialysis on an awkward machine every night when I go to bed, and I can still work full-time and make videos and do what I can, I know you can too. Thank you all for listening. I know that this has been a rambly sort of Monday morning musings, but that's sort of the purpose of these things, is to be unscripted and to just tell you what's on my mind. I do want to let you know that we'll be having a Prudent Reads live stream later this afternoon with Ugandan Mandrill and DC Perspective on Samuel P. Huntington's Clash of Civilizations. And I've recently opened a Subscribestar account, so if you feel like this work is worth supporting, any little bit helps. I'll see you all in the next video, and be prudent, everybody. Take care.